Greetings and welcome back to Backyard Astronomy with Gemini Brett. It is 5:44 a.m. on September 7th, 2024, and I'm recording from my backyard in Richmond, California. Now, if I wasn't so close to giant sources of light pollution like Oakland and San Francisco, we might see some Milky Way on our screen. But probably not, because the greatest source of light is currently rising. It's the one that we call the sun, who rises to illuminate the earth. But of course, when he does, he hides the heavens from our view. So we better hurry through this connection to the sacred hoop of stars. This is a term from the Lakota star tradition that describes a great asterism of stars which surround one of the galactic crosses, one of the two places of the heavens where the ecliptic, the path of the sun, the plane of our solar system, intersects with the Milky Way band, the galactic equator, the plane of our galaxy. One of those crossings very close to galactic center, and the other on the opposite side of the sky here at the Galactic Edge, a place that astronomers call Galactic Anticenter. It's when we look to this place of the heavens, we have our back turned towards the galactic center, and I guess we are most efficiently looking out towards intergalactic space. Okay, so the racetrack, or the sacred hoop of stars, involve many pairs, or twins. Well, let's begin with the twins who are on the upper left of your frame. And here is Castor, the mortal twin, and his brother Polydeuces, or Pollux, the immortal. The body of Pollux and the body of Castor, and this foot that is currently kicking Mars. So Mars right now, this wanderer, this planetus, this visiting star, is located at 1.5 Tropical Cancer. So very close to the Tropic of Cancer, which is the most northern point of the sun's path. And I think I'll make another video about that. But for now, let me just say that a very important truth about our time here on Earth is that the Tropic of Cancer is currently precessing through the center of the sacred hoop, which is that galactic cross where ecliptic and galactic plane intersect. This is the Galactic Alignment. Okay, so Castor and Pollux, twins, and we see a star that is kind of twinned up with Procyon. It's one of the stars of the sacred hoop. So we draw through the twins down to Procyon, which is said to be the small dog. For Orion here, said the hunter to have two hunting dogs, one of them the small dog featuring the bright Bohemian star Procyon, and then the big dog featuring the brightest star of our sky, the Bohemian star Sirius. And you can see that Sirius has a pair as well. So this interesting theme of pairs in sacred hoop stars. The heads of the twins, Castor and Pollux, Procyon, who has a friend, Sirius, who has a friend, and then we come up to Regal, which is the leading foot of Orion, this very bright and beautiful star, who is of course paired with the other foot of Orion, the star called Scythe. Now, while we're here with Orion, I should just mention that clearly you see Orion's belt on the screen. Well, the three that are kind of perpendicular to these are Orion's sword. And the center of those three is not a star at all, but rather a birthplace of stars, the Orion Nebula. Many traditions speak about the origin of souls from this place of the sky, including the sacred hoop traditions of the Lakota star mysteries. They say this is where our souls come from. For the Maya, these three stars, Orion's feet and the easternmost of the belt stars, are called the hearthstones, and they're said to surround the smoke of creation, which would be the Orion Nebula. Stories from Kemet, the land we now call Egypt, teach us that the one called Hathor, you might know as Orion, became these stars, Osiris became these stars that most of us know as Orion. And, well, that sword of Orion would be told differently in that tradition. But I feel that many of these ancient myths, traditions are telling us that this is where our sun was born. Astronomers of our day would smack me in the face for saying this, but I believe the ancient myths are saying that our star that we call Sol, or the sun, was born in the Orion Nebula, as were many of these that we're looking at on the screen, including the Pleiades. So the sacred hoop is so huge, it's something I show on the small screen, the computer screen, often. But I really wanted to take you out here to the big screen of the living sky just to show you how giant, this sacred hoop asterism is. Okay, so we come up now from these pairs of twins' heads and small dog with its friend and big dog Sirius with its friend and Rigel, the leading foot of Orion, with its friend Siph, the following foot. And let's lean our heads back and come way up here to the top of the screen. We'll keep Orion's belt in the frame, and you can see on the left Castor and Pollux. Castor currently kicking Mars. Right, here's Orion's belt now, so that we're reoriented. And well, Orion, it's said in many traditions, is chasing the Pleiades, who you see at the top of the frame. And for the Lakota, the Pleiades are the next from Regal or Rigel of the sacred hoop. So actually we're gonna have to lean our heads back even more so we can see Capella, the bright star of the charioteer, on the screen. Capella, who is here, okay? And then the hoop completes, so Pleiades, Capella, Castor and Pollux. Let's come down again. Procyon, Sirius, Rigel, and then up to the Pleiades. Speaking of pairs, well, for the Pleiades there's many. There's the 7 sisters, and their 2 parents, Atlas and Pleione. But there's also, in a sense, a pair of stars. Modern day astronomers who describe this asterism as the winter hexagon prefer to use Aldebaran, the eye of the bowl. So maybe this is another image of pairs as we explore this space. We certainly see Capella, the bright star, the goat star here, paired up, right? It's an interesting truth of the sacred hoop. And my first teacher, Daniel Gemario, sees the truth of the twins and how they kind of look like the Roman numeral 2 at this place of space where it's said that our souls come from, so a gate of incarnation, if you will, to have something to do with incarnating into a place of duality. And that theme of two-ness is very interesting, expressed in these many, many ways of the sacred hoop. We have a visitor here, another one. So right in the center of your screen is Jupiter, Guru. And he's traveling through the space between the eyes and the horns of the celestial bowl. So many myths teach us about Orion chasing the Pleiades. Well, he can't not, because the Pleiades are west of Orion, and the sky spins from the east to the west. So as the Pleiades head west, Orion will chase them. Fortunately, they are protected by a bowl. And the Pleiades, daughters of Atlas, have some stepsisters here. These are the Hyades, the face of the bowl. This V, which currently looks like a greater than sign. The plane's going to be our laser pointer for a bit. I wouldn't hit Jupiter if I were you. Okay, just south of Jupiter. So the bright star here, the eye of the bull, one is called Ein, the other, the brighter, is Aldebaran, one of the royal stars. In our day and age, beautifully, in our day and age of galactic alignment, when the Earth's rotational axis, which defines the cardinal directions and therefore the tropical zodiac, which is directional. In our day and age, when the Tropic of Cancer is in the center of this sacred hoop, this time of galactic alignment, this turning of the ages, we also find the Pleiades at the cusp of signs. In our day and age, the Pleiades are at the cusp of tropical Taurus and Gemini. In Aldebaran at 10 degrees tropical Gemini. So I'm speaking about the placements in this year of 2024. If you're into that whole Gregorian trip, not all of the Pleiades have processed across the cusp. The signs precess or move backwards through the stars, or the stars process or move forward or direct through the tropical signs. So since the early 1970s, beginning with Pleione, the stars of the Pleiades have been processing across the cusp of tropical Taurus and Gemini, having spent more than 2,000 years traveling through tropical Taurus, now on their way into tropical Gemini. So the Pleiades mark this gate. Now, the ecliptic, the path of the sun, it doesn't go right through the Pleiades. It goes between the Pleiades and Aldebaran here. I'm just going to trace to Jupiter and to Mars through the center of the twins, right? I come down to where the sun is rising now because, of course, the sun is on the sun's path, the ecliptic plane, the heart of the zodiac. The planets are not exactly, they have their own paths, but for the most part, our solar system is relatively flat, so they travel very close to the ecliptic plane. And this, again, is one of the two places of the heavens where that ecliptic path, the plane of our solar system, intersects the Milky Way band, the galactic equator, the plane of our galaxy, which comes through Sirius, the Milky Way does, between the stars of Orion and the twins, and continues on up through the stars of Perseus, who are at the top of your screen, and then over to Cassiopeia here. Cassiopeia, who directs our gaze towards Polaris, North Star, which in our day and age is where Earth's North Pole is pointing. And the Milky Way continues through Deneb here, which is the tail of Cygnus, the swan. Now, of course, we can't see that on our screen because the sun is rising, but also because I live very close to giant cities and lots of light pollution. But please know that when you do gaze at this space, you are gazing at a galactic cross, and that in our day and age, the point of the sun's path, the ecliptic, which is closest to the North Pole, so in our day and age that's marked by Polaris, the point that is closest to that is the Tropic of Cancer, 0 degrees tropical Cancer, which is directly above Earth's Tropic of Cancer. It's furthest north on the sun's path, the ecliptic, from the equator. All right. Some of these things are easier to show on a computer screen, but that doesn't help us understand and experience the enormity. Neither will this video. You've got to get out away from this small screen and connect with the big screen of the living sky. So while we're here, because Mars is in Cancer now, let's just honor that Zeus had a hard youth. He was hidden by Gaia in a cave on Mount Ida in Crete and raised by a she-goat who it said is given a space in the heavens here as the very bright Capella, which means goat. So this is Amalthea, Zeus's goat nursemaid, and her 2 kids. So wonderful to see Jupiter currently traveling through this space of celestial bowl and on the way himself to Tropical Cancer, which will happen next year. Okay, so last thing before the stars disappear, if we extend our gaze from the face of the bowl, we will find the horns, the southern horn of the bowl called El Heka, and the northern horn called El Nath. Interestingly, a star that is shared by the charioteer, kind of pentagonal shape here. And that is the star that is closest to the galactic anti-center, as they call it, the point that's opposite galactic center. Galactic center is about 5 degrees south of the ecliptic plane in our day and age, projecting to 27-ish tropical Sagittarius, while opposite 27 degrees tropical Gemini and 5 degrees north of the ecliptic plane, we find relatively close to that point El Nath, the northern horn of the bull. Okay, wait, one more thing. Twins. So, the twins of the heavens, and let me trace them again, Castor's side and the side of Polydeuces. At the foot, where now Castor is kicking Mars, we find the stars Tejas and Propus. And then a star that we don't have an ancient name for, or at least I don't. In the catalogs it shows up as 1 Gemini, which is from the catalog of 1725 by the English astronomer, the first astronomer royal, called Jonathan Flamsteed. And that star is, in our day and age, the star which is closest to the Tropic of Cancer. I want to kind of center into that space now. I was going to do this in a different video, but we're running out of sky. So maybe I'll record another one tomorrow when it's dark to demonstrate this. But when we look to Mars, who's currently at 1.5 Cancer, he's very close to 1 Gemini. So this is Tejas and Propus and the foot of Castor kicking to the toes, which are also, find Orion here. Orion's right shoulder, Betelgeuse, holds this club in the kind of most Greek view or drawings of the constellations of the hunter. And that club of Orion and the foot of Castor point to the center of the sacred hoop that Mars is visiting now, and that currently hosts the precession of 0 degrees tropical Cancer, the Tropic of Cancer, the point that is closest to North Star. Okay, well, we're going to turn our heads to the left over here, or sorry, to the north. And hard to see much because the sun is rising, but you do, I believe, see Cassiopeia, who many teach as W, but currently she's in M shape here at the top of the frame. Okay? So M, in about 6 hours or a quarter spin, she will be an E, and then a quarter spin later a W, and then a quarter spin later a 3, and then back to M. Because all stars are circling around this one. This, in our day and age, Polaris, is where the North Pole of Earth points. Fun fact, its altitude will equal your latitude on Earth. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then beneath the ground. But I live at 38 degrees north latitude, so that means for Richmond, California, and this is the same as Athens, Greece, Polaris is 38 degrees of altitude, 38 degrees above the horizon, where the top of the sky, the zenith, is 90. Okay, so this is the point where in our day and age, very close to that star, the North Pole of Earth is pointing. So as Earth rotates, we experience that daily motion, the primary motion through the rotation of the heavens. Earth spins from the west to the east, so we experience the heavens spinning from the east to the west. And when we look north, that means everything here is going to draw counterclockwise circles around that star. Okay, well, let me come back up to Cassiopeia in the upper left of your frame, because Cassiopeia generally opens up towards North Star. We also get there with the pointer sisters of the Big Dipper asterism, but they are currently behind the house, so I cannot show them. But a good way to find the North Star is just to know the latitude of Earth where you are and look north and go that high above the sky, or if you're the southern hemisphere, that low below. Sorry, that high above the horizon. Speaking quickly because the sun is taking the stars from my eyes. Okay, well, there's a thing I can do here where I'm going to keep Polaris on the very left of the frame. Okay, now in the upper right, and I think I need to take less light maybe and get some more contrast going. Good, might as well straighten up. Okay, so what you're seeing here are the heads of the twins, and then Polaris on the left, and that's actually showing me that straight will not be an option. Let's see if I can even get them to fit. I'm trying to show you. I'm sorry, I need two hands on this tripod. Sorry for the shakiness. Is this possible? Okay, yes, there it is. So Polaris now is in the very bottom left of the frame. Okay, that's where Earth's North Pole is pointing. Well, now you see Mars in the very upper right of your frame. See the heads of the twins here, Castor and Pollux, were losing their bodies to the rising light. But Mars here is clearly marking, or I should say brightly marking, the foot of Castor. Okay. So Polaris in the very lower left of your screen, that's where Earth's North Pole is pointing, and that pole is leaning towards the place on the sun's path, the ecliptic, which really is what? The path that Earth describes in our annual orbit of the sun, right? But we experience our orbit, the secondary motion, by the sun's travel through the signs and through the constellations, which are different things. So we're looking at constellational twins, but you'll hear I use that name and other names like Bowl to describe constellations, where I reserve names like Cancer and Gemini for signs. So many will say that the tropical zodiac has no astronomical framework because its signs do not align with the constellations as they did in Hellenistic times. But the framework of the tropical zodiac is simply directional. And the truth is 0 degrees tropical Cancer, the Tropic of Cancer, is the point that is closest to the North Pole, or furthest north of the equator. It's completely Earth-astronomical. There is no other tropical zodiac degree that I can fit in the same frame as Polaris. So again, Polaris, marking the North Pole in our day and age, is in the very bottom left of your frame. And then Here is Mars, right? Here you see towards the upper right of the frame. I guess I can even look a little bit towards the north. If I showed you where Aldebaran, like I cannot fit Aldebaran marking 10 degrees tropical Gemini and Polaris in the same frame. The Pleiades I might, because they are north of the ecliptic plane. Now, the Tropic of Cancer, well, I mean, in our day and age, and until the tilt angle of Earth changes, will always be this close to Polaris. So as Mars continues his climb throughout the day, of course this won't be seen because of the rising of sun, but Mars will just draw a circle around that star, and that circle that Mars draws will change significantly tomorrow and next week and next month because he's a wandering star, right? But the toe of Castor, 1 Gemini, which currently marks the closest point to the Tropic of Cancer, will draw a circle that, as far as the stars of the ecliptic plane are concerned, is the one closest to Polaris and the only one I could keep in a frame like this. Okay, so starting with the sacred hoop, in this place where some traditions tell us, actually many, tell us that our souls came from, and then getting kind of technical with the directional zodiac. But I hope we can keep the sacred science sacred by honoring the scientific, and scientific by honoring the sacred. Thanks for spending some time in the backyard with this astronomer, Gemini Brett. See you in space.